everyone, welcome to the Hickson Diaries. It's day 4 of our 12 Faves of Britain countdown to Christmas, and today we're exploring my 9 favorite British quirks. Number 9, how they love to dress up. I'm not 100% sure why, but British people don't really need an excuse for dressing up or what they call fancy dress. They love dressing up in costumes for to me, seemingly random things like going to a dart competition or they'll throw on like a England flag as a cape for a football game in order to support an England international game. And I've also seen people, particularly this time of year, walking around cities and towns dressed up. Now, they might be trying to promote a local pantomime or something like that, especially this time of year, and that's fine. I totally understand that. But from my perspective, people just don't walk around in costumes. They're either paid to do it or it's Halloween. Otherwise, or you're at a play of some sort or something like that. You're not really walking around in costumes if you're not performing or in one of those other scenarios. So for the idea of dressing up in a costume to go to like a sports competition or something, I suppose it might be somewhat equivalent to like face painting and making sure you wear the jersey if you go to an American football game. But they're not dressing up as like Woody from Toy Story. They might dress up as a mascot or like a famous version of the mascot, but that's really where it ends, and it's definitely not the entire crowd. So how the British people like to dress up randomly, I actually love it. I think it's amazing because I love dressing up anyway, but it is very, very quintessentially British and one of the quirks that I enjoy while living here. Number 8, freaking out because a centimeter of snow is about to fall. For those of you who don't know the metric system, a centimeter is about that much. It's the second smallest line on the ruler, I think. It's not a lot. And for someone like me who comes from the northeast of America, where it snows in the winter, at least ices, and when it does snow, it's at least, 3 to 6 inches, which is half a foot, which is half the ruler. You still shovel yourself out and go to work. It's really, really comical to me from my perspective to watch how British people who are only getting like a centimeter, maybe an inch of snow, they start freaking out. They're like, oh, I'm working from home, or I'm not coming in, or I'm not driving in this, and the weather's horrific. And I'm kind of like, oh, I don't even know that I would shovel. I would just drive right over it. There are parts of the UK that get a lot more snow and have to deal with that, and they obviously have a little bit of a similar attitude than I do. But where I am in the southeast of England, which is, I think, the warmest part of the UK as far as the British Isles are concerned, if it snows here, it is a huge, huge deal, and even the smallest amount of snow sends people into a frenzy, and I think it's funny as hell. Number 7. When they complain about a 30-minute drive being way too far. I know this is all about perspective. Obviously, the landmass comparison of like the United Kingdom, even the British Isles, or the Great Britain, as opposed to the United States of America, which takes up basically half a continent. That is where it comes from. In America, we're used to driving an hour for a commute to work or something like that. It is very possible that the destination that you're trying to get to is only, 10 miles or something like that, but it's not. But there's a lot of traffic to get there, so you're still driving like for an hour. I grew up in New Jersey. There's traffic everywhere in New Jersey, so you definitely will have at least a half-hour commute to just about anywhere you want to go. I mean, I remember even in Pennsylvania, it took us 10 to 15 minutes just to get to the grocery store. Like, that's just the way it is. It's so built up. There's so much volume. There's so much traffic. It takes a really long time to just navigate the landscape in America. I understand that it's not really like that here in the UK, and because the countries are so much older, They're really built around the center of town, and a lot of the things that you need are in town or close proximity to town limits. So if you have to drive to another town or the next town over to get your car serviced, for example, that's a big deal. It's just really funny to me though whenever I hear someone say it. Number 6, apologizing for everything. This used to annoy me when I first moved here, I'm not gonna lie, and I got a lot of flack for it, but I've kind of gotten used to it now that I've been here for almost 2 years, and now I just find it funny. I'll just sit there and be like, keep saying you're sorry, keep saying you're sorry, it's alright, keep going, it's fine. They're just so polite here. It's especially when you're amongst strangers or people that you don't have a comfortable or familiar relationship with. So saying sorry for things, even when it's not your fault, or even when you know, they're asking you to do something that's your job or your responsibility, people will still say, I'm sorry to bother you. Is that okay? Is it okay that I'm asking you to do that? That kind of response, now that I've gotten a little bit more used to it, is definitely just comical to me. It's not something that I've ever seen in any other culture. So for me, it's also a quintessential British quirk. Number 5, their unusual competitions. They have competitions where they're gonna chase a wheel of cheese down a hill, and they have competitions where they like put straws in the ground and like try to convince the worms to come out of the ground. I'm finding a lot of really great sports stuff here in Britain, but I have to admit that some of the competitions just don't make any sense to me, and I don't know. It makes me laugh. It's really, really funny to me, some of the things that these Brits get up to. Number 4, sarcasm. I love sarcasm. I definitely used it a lot in America in my like private circles, but the British take it to an entirely different level. Almost everything that I hear is sarcastic. If they're being sincerely polite to you, then they probably don't like you, or they're definitely not comfortable with you. And British people will pretty much use sarcasm in everyday life, whether it's at the grocery store, whether it's with your family, whether you're at work. Everything is sarcastic, and they'll use a very sarcastic tone to insult you as well. And sometimes they're trying to insult you, but most of the time they're just trying to take the piss out of you. But I love it. I think it's great fun. Number 3, thinking tea is a cure for everything. Basically, just sit down, relax, have a cup of tea, everything's gonna be fine. That whole keep calm and carry on attitude. I know it's kind of left over from World War II, and it's very, very well deserved. This culture went through a lot during that period, and they definitely have earned that right. It's almost done to a comical sense, at least from my perspective, because, you know, if you're a broken leg, having a cup of tea is not gonna cure a broken leg. I'm looking at it from a very pragmatic point of view, right? And obviously it's not meant to be taken completely literal, but I think from my perspective, from what I've gathered, that most people use it as a way to just say, just sit down, relax for a minute, take a deep breath, and just kind of, you know, clear your head a little bit and just think things through so that you can move on to the best next step, right? And that's very quintessential British. So yeah, but thinking tea is a cure, it's a quirk that I love about Britain. Number 2, their odd use of prepositions. I'm not trying to get into like a grammar war or anything like that, but from what I've learned in America, you're supposed to use your prepositions in a certain way. For example, trying to think of an example. I'm on my way to the hospital. That's how you would say it in America. In the UK, you would say, I'm on my way to hospital. No the. Okay, I mean, I don't get it, to be honest with you, but that's how they say it. That's totally fine. But then they'll say things like, well, it's due to deliver on the Monday. Where in America, we say, it's due to deliver Monday. So you leave it out of certain expressions or certain areas, and then you add it in to certain areas. So having obviously not gone to school here, I don't know if it's a specific grammar thing, or maybe it's one of those things that Americans changed around when we became independent, just as an FU to Great Britain and England. No one's ever really been able to explain it to me, and it's one of those things that when I hear people do it, I have to actually have a double take, because I'm like, wait, what? I almost lose focus on what they're saying, because to me, and from my perspective, the prepositions are in the wrong spot. So I have to make sure I understand what they're saying, which is most of my life here anyway. But their use of prepositions, even when I was an American and would speak to British people, it always caught me off guard. And my favorite British quirk from an American's point of view, how long it takes them to say goodbye. I don't know if it's just because I'm a more direct person, but I'm just concise. I'm like, okay, thank you, appreciate it, have a good day, bye-bye. And British people will be like, okay, thanks, appreciate it, cheers, okay, yeah, okay, thanks, all right, bye-bye, have a bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. How many times can you say goodbye in one sentence? I think it's just one of those things that just, it's the cultural thing that I'm never going to change. And it's probably something that I'll never really completely adapt to or be comfortable with doing myself. But I do think it's funny, and every time, especially at work, because I hear it a lot at work with people on the phone, for me it's instinctive to just say goodbye and hang up, or just, hit end. So, yeah, it's one of those things that I think is very, very British, and I don't know that I'm ever going to get used to. There you have it, guys, my 9 favorite British quirks. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to tune in tomorrow for day 5 of our series, my 12 Faves of Britain. Hope to see you then. Have a good day. Bye, guys.